And there he is, classic Magnus walk, takes off the jacket, it's psychological warfare, little grimace, sits down at the board, gives the pieces a tickle. Who's his opponent here? It's international master Semeti Tologontagin of Kyrgyzstan, not in Magnus's league, but he doesn't deserve this treatment. The guy builds the banana hammock, gets hit with this from Magnus. Pure disrespect. And not only does Carlsen break every rule, he goes on to win the game in just 28 moves. This is ridiculous. It's the World Chess Teams Championship, Blitz and Rapid, back in 2024. An oldie but a goldie. Let me get rid of some of this stuff that just popped up on my screen. Computer updates and whatnot. Knight takes the pawn is what was played. Do we see this? Like many of us would do in Blitz, no siree. Magnus plays a central move. Apparently this opening actually has a name. The Lasker Simul Special. Maybe Lasker played it one day in a Simul, right? Former world champion, who knows. Magnus decides it's time to erect the big black centre, or BBC for short. So yes, he does have something in compensation for the pawn, plus an open file. How's he going to exert pressure? Well, he starts with an epic whoosh. Pronounces it, announces it at the board. Great etiquette. Takes was played. The rook sitting on the head of the pawn. The explosive c4s on the board. Surely Magnus is taking, lopping off the queens. That's his style. Not today. He wants them on the board. White can now go queen b3. Nice developing move. Not played. The immediate takes. Queen recaptures. Looks nuts. Breaking more rules. Picking up tempos left, right and centre is white. But no, this is Magnus's point. Bring the second bishop out. Give up the second bishop. It's what we see here. How can Magnus be playing like this? Giving his bishops up. Letting this pawn go down here. White's now a little over a pawn better. Well, this is what he's got planned. He goes for the 000, Magnus Christmason. Now we see queen b3 and come on Semeti. You can't do that against Magnus. Of course he took those queens into the blender here. Look at his biggest fan, Terence. Loves it. Endgame. Magnus. We know what's coming. This knight hops in now. King f1 looks weird. Actually a great move. Magnus backs up. Anticipating this, tucking in, attacking the rook that's no longer there. Magnus now retreats his knight here. Pawn h3 on the board. The knight recentralizing. g4, hyper aggression. Kicks back the rook, yes. And not just that. Wins a clean pawn. White is now 2 pawns ahead. How does Magnus wiggle out from this stuff? The f pawn is attacked. The a pawn is attacked. This is nuts. Well, this is the move that Magnus starts with. The simple rook e8. So he gets out the forking way, hits the knight, and dares white to take here. If you do this, really not so great. Amazingly. Looks so natural. But there's this check. Taking advantage of this g4 push. You know, not the best pawn structure in hindsight. King f3, let's say. Rook f6 sets up the pin stuff. And this one's still weak. So after you save your knight, or attack this knight, let's say, black can take. You can counter here to counter here. Sorry, please excuse me. Just sneezed there. I'm allergic to my own ramblings. And actually, this is a bit better for black, this position. Let's back up. We didn't see white take. This was played. It's the best move. Supports the knight. Magnus plays f6. Usually a very stinky move, but good here. Where should the knight go? Back to d3, in fact. You give a pawn, but you immediately challenge the e-file and you solve all your problems. This one's a great defensive octopus. You've got to exchange. Basically, rook d2 wasn't good. And white stands well here. Better knight, better rook, better king. This is just good for white. Let's run back. That was the move. not played. G5. Now it looks nice because after the rook moves, you know it was attacked, and if this pawn took, you've got a clean outpost. There's this and this, but you're actually opening the G file and helping black. It's a split-second decision, low on time, it's not the one. Magnus now plays after knight c4, rook takes on e2. Now he could have checked and started with that one. What should white now do? Well, it has to be king f3. Chase this rook somewhere, game goes on from there, but it is the play, because after rook takes on a7, you're in a world of pain after Magnus plays the epic rook f5 simply, converging on the f2 pawn, and if you try and defend it like this, then you can jump in with the knight, but not yet, because this one defends. Therefore b5, knight goes somewhere, doesn't really matter. Now you jump with check, and everything's collapsing. No king f3, step back let's say, and you can either check and go for a mating attack, or win a rook. So in the game, we saw rook a8 check, king d7. Now this king steps to g3, desperately running for the hills. Magnus crashes through with the rook here, and after rook g8, we actually saw resigns. Why? Because this is the next move. Again, getting rid of the knight, which is defending this square. And then when this one jumps in, just to show you a nice mating trap, let's say we check, king steps up, king now runs away, or let's say rook takes, because otherwise you're checking and winning a rook. And after this, king h4. This is one sample of how the trap could be shut on the white king. It's absolutely brutal, and that's why we saw resigns on move 28. Magnus Carlsen doing his thing, absolutely epic. Hope you enjoyed this game. Do have a look at the video on screen if you want to see some more epic chess, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.